sometimes when we're in the grocery store and they're kind of getting antsy and stuff, and also I'm understanding. We've been to 3 stores. I don't want to be here either.
Oh, yeah.
I'm understanding when my kid starts throwing a fit after 3 stores. It makes sense if you pause for a second and put yourself in your child's shoes. That goes into that reparenting of really thinking about, okay, would I want to go through this? Would I want to be there? And we're adults. Like, we should be able to adjust. We should be able to adjust better to these situations than our children. And our children are still learning. And so back to that definition, it's really about modeling to our children how to act in situations. And so I know me as an adult, one of the things I've struggled with within relationships with other people is I've learned to respond in all of my relationships rather than react. It has helped me a lot. We'll cover that next week with me and Wildman. But has it helped you in your marriage to be a gentle parent?
Yes. So I've definitely, like, I had already started the gentle parenting journey, like, as Chris and I began our relationship together. But that being said, I had just started it. So the way that I respond even to, like, my husband now versus where we were when we first started dating, you know, past the whole, like, initial butterfly stuff. But it's changed. It's changed. Instead of, like, automatically just being upset with him if he says a certain thing or acts a certain way, I have to, like, sit back and be like, okay, why is he doing this, or why is he saying this, or, you know, where's it coming from? Not just a you know,
right? Because then you're and he's and everybody's
everybody's and it doesn't get you anywhere.
It doesn't get you anywhere. Yes. And so I will say that moving to gentle parenting, I switched overnight, but it was a very slow journey. Very slow. When I say I switched overnight, I meant I stopped spanking, and that was it. That was the start of my journey. I was like, okay, I'm done spanking, but there was a lot of yelling still going on, and there was still a lot of, like, oh God, it's cringy to talk about our past parenting.
It's okay. We're better now.
I was very harsh on my oldest child, and I still find myself harsh on her. I mean, my parents were so harsh on me. It comes out. You know, it's just reparenting myself and showing up for my kid. You said something about your husband when you guys first met. Like, how does he feel about gentle parenting?
Man, so it's been back and forth. He was definitely parented in the traditional, you spank, I'm the parent, so therefore you shall listen to me, what I say, don't explain things to your children, you're just supposed to listen to you. And it's been a journey. And we're still on that journey. I'm not a perfect gentle parent. I don't spank, I don't yell, and Chris doesn't spank, Chris doesn't yell, but, like, there's still things that we're working on. But we had a conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday was my birthday. When you're seeing this, it won't be yesterday. But yesterday was my birthday, and I was getting ready to leave the house to go to brunch. Chris was taking us out for brunch, and he goes downstairs and he says, hey, Gabe, I need you to go upstairs and get dressed. And Gabe is like, well, where are we going? And Chris, you know, he's like, don't worry about it. Just go get dressed. Yeah. And Gabe, my son's been going through a lot lately. So his anxiety's kind of way up here. And so he's like, no, but where are we going? And Chris was like, don't worry about it. Just go upstairs and get dressed. And not yelling at him, but just not explaining. Okay. And so he stomps up the stairs and he slams the door. And Chris goes after him and is like, listen, we don't slam doors in this house. It's okay that you're upset, but I just need you to get dressed and not slam the doors. And then he comes and tells me about this interaction. And I'm like, well, you're not wrong. You know, we don't slam doors. But if we would have explained to him where we were going, it wouldn't have come to that in the first place. And, you know, it just goes back to him being like, well, I'm the parent, and why do I have to explain? And we're still working on it. We're still working on it.
Oh,
so it's,
I mean, even I'm still working on it. Like, Alma Grace, I was telling her this story before we got started. My husband's still working with it too. And, like, as far as where he is, I remember the first day I called him and I was like, hey, we're not spanking anymore. And Wildman goes along with me, and he always has, and he's always like, yeah, babe, whatever you want to do, I'll support you. And this was the first time I ever got any kind of feedback where he was like, hey, whoa, I don't know about that. You know, I ain't trying to have some bratty kids. I don't know about how. I don't know how. Okay, we'll see. So that was really the first time he ever like pushed back towards me, and I was appreciative of that because it made me have to dig so deep to be comfortable with my choice that now I'm having to explain it to somebody else. It's one thing to believe something for yourself. This is a podcast topic that we've always talked about here. It's one thing to believe something, but it's another thing to believe it so deeply that you can teach another person about it.
There you go.
And so I was just in tune, like YouTube, TikTok. And yes, you can learn all this stuff online. Don't let anybody tell you you cannot teach yourself anything, not just gentle parenting, absolutely anything on the internet, free resources. There are books out there, but
I learned a lot of it from like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and more recently TikTok. I know people love to pick on TikTok, but like,
it's informative.
It's really informative.
Yes.
It's not all TikTok dances and random posts. It's like some of it is 60 seconds to 3 minutes of really good information. So,
and a lot of times you watch that 60 seconds and you're like, that really hurt.
Man,
I don't like it. It feels uncomfortable.
There's one in particular that I watched probably close to a year ago now that really resonated with me, and it ties into the whole parenting and reparenting thing. This girl got on her TikTok, and I cannot remember her handle. She was explaining why she detested cleaning her house so much.
Yes, I know this one. Yes.
And she was like, I never understood it, and it drives my husband crazy. I can't seem to make myself do it. But then one day, my therapist was just talking to me about it, and my mother had used it as a punishment. If I did this behavior, I was forced to do all the dishes or sweep the whole house or dust everything or not, and as a child. And I sat back and I said, holy crap.
Yes.
The same thing happened to me, and this is why every time I clean my house, I feel like I'm punishing myself. Oh my God.
Yes. I don't know if you sent me that or I just saw it on my own, but I remember that being a huge slap in the face because, like, not only was I punished by chores, like, I would get home from school and have 1 hour to complete. I'm talking like Cinderella list of front and back of chore lists that I had to get done before my parents get home, and if I didn't have that done and my homework done, I was punished, and then my punishment was more cleaning, and then I get older, and so I love to clean, I love having a clean space, but I clean for fear that someone's going to beat me or yell at me or scream at me if it's not perfect. Wow. So when a friend comes over, I intentionally left dishes in my sink. Like, Did you see that? Like,
I didn't look.
That is growth. That is growth for me.
Good.
Because even though I know he would never come over and be like, oh my God, Brittany, look at your sink. What are you kidding me?
Go in my house right now.
I know she would never do that to me. I wasn't parented gently, and so I have this internal thing that somebody's gonna walk in and be like, oh my God, Brittany, you're in trouble. You didn't do your dishes. And so very similar. I loved that lady on TikTok.
Man.
But yeah, but this is just a whole nother level of gentle parenting and why we do what we do. Because we don't want our kids to hate cleaning.
No, I don't want my son to grow up and, get married one day and then him and his spouse be having to have arguments over why he can't get off the couch to just do some dishes or do some laundry or sweep. Like, why is that so hard for you? Like, it's arguments that my husband and I have had until I really realized what was going on. And my kid is responsible for his room. And when I say that, I don't mean spotless. Yeah. My child also has ADHD, and for him, a clean room just means that, like, you can walk on the floor and not step on Legos.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, that's another thing to talk about within gentle parenting is this idea that parents need to lower their expectations. Not in a way that kids get away with everything,
no.
But to understand there is a delicate balance between too harsh and not, harsh isn't the right word, not instructive enough. And so me and Cammie have had this fight. I've actually talked about it on the podcast before. Cammie, my oldest child, is very much like Gabe. They get along so well because they're the same person, just different genders. I won't speak for Gabe. I only speak for Cammie. Cammie's room is a place of contention for me, and I just spoke to you guys about how my dishes not being done is something that I struggle with, and so Cammie's room not being clean, that's my struggle, not Cammie's. Cammie doesn't care. And so I've had to lower, okay, it doesn't have to be Brittany clean, it needs to be Cammie clean. And so we got together one day after constant contention. Me and her were like losing our closeness over her room. Constant contention. I finally sat on her bed. I said, okay, let's make a compromise between what your version of clean is and what Mama's version of clean is. I said, you tell me what you think is clean. And she said, no stuff on the floor. I said, okay, cool. Let Mom take it one more and let's see how you feel about that. I said, how about no dishes left in your room? She said, cool, I can be on board with that. I said, how about your clothes in the dirty clothes hamper? She's like, cool, I can be cool with that. And I said, okay, I can be cool with the rest of it. And so we worked together gently, respectfully, and she gave me her definition, I gave her my definition, and we just met in the middle. I don't need her in there with toothbrush and cleaning like I do, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But just getting to that place together, and I want to go back because I skipped over it because we were talking about how our marriages have been affected in a positive way, and then we'll touch on like how our kids are different now with the change. But you were talking about Chris and how when you guys have arguments, like you're more in tune with how he's feeling in those, and I'm the same way. Like when it comes to my husband, just the other night, I had said something and he reacted. And I was like, hey, whoa, hold up. I respect that. I see you're feeling upset. Let me validate that. I hear you're upset. What can I do? Let's bring this back down. Can we have a conversation? And when you meet somebody who's yelling and screaming and yelling and all the things with, hey, buddy, what's going on? They're not gonna, they're gonna like, oh, maybe I should meet you where you are. And kids will do that, and spouses will do that, and all the rest of your relationships will do that as well. Well, maybe not all of them. Not the toxic ones.
Yeah, not all of them, but like the healthy ones, the good ones, they'll meet you where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've loved about gentle parenting, that we're talking about gentle parenting, but what really we're talking about is gentle relationships.
Yes.
And so how do you feel like Gabe has acted since the shift?
Wow.
Was it immediate or?
Almost.
Okay.
It was like, not like overnight immediate, but it was a pretty quick change. Like once we really made the switch about 3 years ago to I'm not spanking anymore. And then very shortly after that, it's like, I'm not yelling anymore. I'm not a yeller in general. If I'm yelling, you have crossed like 16 boundaries, and just if I am yelling, just run away because like you've just pushed it way too far. But Gabe's a child; he can't push me to that point. I'm not allowing myself to get to that point with my child. But it's been night and day. Like he was so closed off from me before. He wasn't comfortable talking to me about things. He would lie to me. He would hide things from me. He was getting in trouble at school. Just all the things. And it was just when we made the switch to gentle parenting, like he stopped getting into trouble at school. We talk about big stuff almost daily. He's coming to me, Mom, can I please talk to you? Lately even more so because he's got a lot of things going on, but it's, Mom, can I please talk to you about these things? Because he knows I'm a safe person to come talk to. I'm not going to yell at him. I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to invalidate the way he's feeling or try to just make it be like, oh well, that's not really a big deal, honey, don't My parents did that a lot to me.
Mine too.